Okay, in this video we're going to see how to edit a simple video story using Adobe Rush. And just as a quick disclaimer, I'm not going to talk about features, rather I'm going to talk about the actual process of editing. All right, so here we have this interview clip which is rather long, about 5 minutes long, and I imported it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the story, to the interview, and see if I can pick sound bites that I could use for my story. So let's say I'm going to play back the beginning of this clip here.
My name is Ibrahim,
and let's say I decide to use the sound bite. I could zoom in to the beginning of this clip and I can see that in the waveform. And I can go to scissors and split the clip there and then keep listening. And let's say if I wanted to use this clip all the way up to here, and I could make another cut there, so that leaves me with this 10-15 seconds long soundbite. So that way I could just grab it and stack it to the end of my timeline here and go back and find another soundbite that I could string together and build my story out of it. So I hope this all makes sense. Again, just to recap, I brought in my raw video interview and I made some decisions to keep some parts of this big video clip, and then I stacked them to where, and I organized them to where if I play it back, it all sounds like a story. And this is all interview. So now if I have some leftovers here, like these clips, I could just go ahead and tap on the trash bin on the bottom here and get rid of it. Alright, so now I'm left at about 1:10 long story with clips back to back, just talking head interview clips, right? So the problem is, let's just listen to this part here.
United States. When I grew up, I went.
All right, so these two clips here are back to back, and when you listen and look at the picture, there is a jump cut between them. So now we're going to get our cover shots. This is the part 2, to make sure we can kind of hide those jump cuts between these talking head clips to where it kind of becomes a coherent story at the end. So what I'm going to do here, this is also important that I learned myself along the way, is I'm going to park at the very end of all of my soundbite clips here. At the very end, and then I'm going to tap on the plus button and bring in the rest of my media. I'm going to tell you why I did it. So here I got, I think I got like 14 clips here. But I only want to bring in the clips that are all about related to Ibrahim's studying. So these first 5 clips here are all about Ibrahim studying, just for the sake of the example. Later on, when I'm actually editing the story, I'm going to bring the rest of the stories. But I'm going to keep these 5 clips all kind of together because they are related. I don't want to edit some clip of Ibrahim eating cereal in between these clips, so I'm going to all keep them together. So here's my approach to editing and trimming these clips here. So first of all, I got to make sure I pick the good and right parts of my clip, because these clips, some of them are shaky, some of them are the parts that I don't want to use. So you got to make those decisions as an editor. So when you're happy with the part that you definitely want to use, let's say the beginning of my clip for this clip starts right there. I could grab the beginning of that clip and kind of trim that clip. All right, so now I'm happy. This clip is stable and it works. And I'm going to do the same thing for these clips. Let's say I'm going to grab the ending of this clip to where Ibrahim is writing, and then this clip seems like okay, and then here's another clip. Obviously I don't want the part of the clip where Ibrahim looks at me, so I'm going to trim it to about there to show that he's still working. and then this clip is a little longer. I'm going to trim that as well. So here's the idea for my cover shots. Here's what I'm paying attention to. So first of all, these cover shots are all related, and second of all, they are organized in a way, I got to organize them in a way to where when we are watching these, they don't look like jump cuts. Because if you edit this clip to this clip, it may be a little bit jarring. So you got to be careful with the way you stack your clips. This edit, works pretty good because there's a close-up shot and the face, so that works good. So how could I fix the problem between these two shots? I could go back to this clip, which is a wide angle shot, and then I could move it. Oops. I could grab that shot and move it and insert it between those two clips. So now we have this clip, and then we go to the wider angle shot, and then we go back to the close-up shot right there. Right? So now, as you can see, I edited this sequence to where there are no jump cuts and nothing is just strange or out of the way. All right, so this was the part 2 where I organized my clips in a way that I like them. So now the big thing is just to take these clips on top of my talking head clips. Well, how do you do that? It's actually very easy. If you go back to the beginning of these options here, the third option here is turns on the timeline feature here. So once you got the timeline feature, and I'm going to zoom out, the way I want my story to be is just like I would start with Ibrahim's talking head, and then about 10 seconds into it, I'm going to start plugging in my cover shots. So right about there. So I'm going to go back to my first cover shot, and I'm going to drag and drop it on top of, oops, I made a mistake there. I'm going to just go all the way to the to the top of the screen. If you see where it says sequence 1, there's an arrow there that will undo if you make a mistake. It becomes my best friend when I make a lot of mistakes. So I'm going to grab this clip and I'm going to drop it right about there to where this clip ends and the other one starts. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other clips that I got here. So I'm going to go grab my next clip, stack it. Basically, I'm taking these clips and I'm putting them on the second layer of video. You see, this is there's the first layer and then second layer. Here's why. Any layer that appears on top of another video layer will end up showing up on your screen. So just like so. So our story will probably play back something like this when we are done.
My name is Ibrahim, and I was born in United States.
And then Ibrahim keeps talking there. All right, so here's an issue that I'm kind of seeing here. I'm zooming in here. The problem is the audio. And probably whenever you are completely done with your story, audio mixing is probably the part 3 or the last part of this whole thing. So to adjust. Well, how do you adjust the audio? If you scroll down here, there's an option with audio. If you tap on that, it gives you information about the audio that is highlighted. Right now, my interview is highlighted. Interview sounds pretty good to me. Probably I need to adjust the cover shot that is kind of competing with my interview. So I need to lower the level of the cover shot here. You definitely don't want to completely mute it or kind of kill it. You want to lower it to where it is not competing with your main audio, the voiceover, or the interview in our case. So I tried it earlier, about 20, 16, 20, between 15 and 20 seems like a good number there, percentage, to where we can kind of hear what's happening in the background, but still focus on the story. All right, so you can just go ahead and keep doing that. If you tap on the next audio, you can lower that to about 20, and you can do it to all of your clips to where it will not compete with the sound. So the idea is for me, I'm not gonna edit this whole story for you, but the idea is for me to see the talking head in the beginning for the story, and then dive into all these cover shots. I'm gonna bring in the shots of him doing something else later on and plug it in and share with you later. But the idea is we keep listening, and on the last shot, this is my last shot, we're gonna kind of phase out our cover shots and then go back to the talking head and wrap up the story there. A couple other tips: you don't want to start inserting all kinds of transitions and things that are distracting. And there are a lot of features that I'm going to share in another, not mine, but I saw some other tutorials out there that are pretty good in explaining all these other features that Adobe Rush offers. It's an excellent option and excellent software to edit on the go. And I want to reiterate that when you edit using these mobile devices, you got to keep everything super simple. Otherwise, it kind of defeats the purpose of editing on the go. Otherwise, you might as well take all these clips and put it on your computer and edit using your computer. So for that reason, my philosophy is that you got to keep everything simple, all your clips and all your sound bites, to where you could just sit on your couch and put the story together using your phone. So if it gets too complicated, probably it's better just to switch to computer. All right, so I hope this all helped you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and then I think I'm gonna sign out here.